Okay, I'm going to show you how to add the texture to our textured wild things. You should already have your wild thing painted, and that paint should be dry. If your paint is not dry or you're not finished painting, that's your number one priority. If you are done though, what you're going to do next is fill each space that you made in your monster with a different visual texture. You can see that I already started adding some textures to the eyes and to the bow in my wild thing. Now mine's not done painting, but I did start to add texture just to show you what that will look like. You're also going to get some texture examples on the back of your grade sheet. If you're not sure what a texture should look like, you can use these as an example. Textures are just little lines or shapes that repeat until they look like they would feel a certain way. So you see on the example page, I showed what rhino texture might look like. I have sheep texture, bear, alligator, fish, elephant, zebra, and bird. You can use all or some of these textures as well as some of your own textures that you invent, as long as we're not just doing crazy scribbles. We want to actually do lines or shapes that repeat to fill our space. So here I started doing some alligator skin inside this eye. I have some rhino texture here. I did some sheep fur here. I think I'm going to add some elephant texture inside the nose just to give you an idea of what this should look like. You are going to use a Sharpie marker, no pencil. I'm going to trust you to take your time and do it right the first time, so please be really careful not to rush through this step. I'm going to take a look at this elephant texture. It looks like just a bunch of lines that crisscross. So I'm going to draw lines in one direction first, and then I'm going to crisscross lines in another direction after that. Some of these lines are really close together, and some of them are a little further apart. It's up to you to decide how you want to draw your texture exactly. Just make sure that you're drawing it neatly inside of each space so that you have texture on your whole wild thing. We want these to be as detailed as the wild things that we saw in the story. So now that I have my first row of lines, I'm going to go back and I'm going to draw lines the other direction. These lines are going to crisscross in different places and make the nose of my wild thing look a little bit dry and rough, like the texture of elephant skin. Now you're going to add texture to each shape in your wild thing. So I'm just using the nose as an example, but when I'm finished with this nose, I would move on and add texture in other places on my wild thing as well. The lips, the head, the mane if you made one, the belly, the arms, the hands, the feet, all of those things are going to have different textures in them. It's okay for you to repeat a texture more than once, but please only use one texture per shape. It'll make those shapes stand out. So my nose is all elephant skin, this eye is going to be all alligator skin, this eye is going to be all rhino skin, and so on. So when you're done painting, look at your texture sheet, pick a different texture for each shape on your wild thing, and go to town.